The Dallas Cowboys just broke the NFL, so we're going to be going through that and 3 other stories in today's video. So make sure to like this video, and if you want more Dallas Cowboys news content like this, make sure to subscribe to the channel by hitting that red button down below. The first story is Dak Prescott believes the Dallas Cowboys are in rhythm to win the Super Bowl. The good times keep on rolling along for the Dallas Cowboys in their defense of AT&T Stadium. Having handily dismantled the Los Angeles Rams to the tune of 43-20, they now extend their win streak at home to 11 games, and head coach Mike McCarthy moves to 12-5 following the bye week. Dak Prescott and the offense, fueled largely by a career day from wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, finally showed what the explosive version of the Texas Coast offense looks like. Micah Parsons and Darren Bland, who set a franchise record on Sunday, leading the defense, and Sam Williams and Brandon Aubrey putting points on the board for special teams. It was an outright domination as the Cowboys continue to look bulletproof at home in the McCarthy era. Playing here in a great environment, the fans, wonderful atmosphere, the place you're used to playing at and playing indoors, a lot of that plays into getting off to an early start, said Prescott. That game was huge for us. That streak is just the mentality of these guys. That's something that we set our mind to. We're trying to work for something, and the last thing we want to do is let someone come into our house and take that from us. It wasn't all Skittles and rainbows at the outset, however. Aaron Donald and co-sacked Prescott on the first play from scrimmage and 2 additional times on Dallas's opening drive, one negated by an illegal contact call against the Rams, ultimately sacking Prescott on 3 occasions over the first 2 drives. Early adversity was overcome rather swiftly, though, as Prescott marched the Cowboys down the field on the opening drive before ultimately finding Titan Jacob Ferguson for an 18-yard touchdown. I think that's an example of just playing one play at a time, said Prescott. It wasn't pretty the first few plays. Each play you've got to be locked in. Just take it one play at a time and get momentum. Don't think about the last play, as shoddy as it was or it could have been. Just move forward and stay in the present. I think the guys did that. We could have easily put our heads down and started pouting and griping after the first couple of plays. We responded to each other. We communicate. And just like when we got rolling, it's the same thing. One play at a time. Just because it was good, we need to stay locked in and stay focused. And focused, they most certainly were. That drive helped spark an onslaught from the Cowboys in all 3 phases of the game, in a matchup that was very nearly a 50-point mutilation of the Rams, if not for a holding penalty, negating a return for a touchdown by Cavante Turpin, who already had a 63-yard return early in the second quarter that led to Lamb's second touchdown on the day. The connection between Prescott and Lamb wasn't simply nuclear. You would have thought J. Robert Oppenheimer was involved in the game planning this week. We wanted to take a step in the pass game, said Prescott. Lamb, who had 114 receiving yards in the defeat of the Chargers, isn't shocked at all. And that includes how the Cowboys have also gotten Brandon Cooks involved the last 2 outings. We're not surprised, Lamb said. That's what we're looking for week in, week out. This was more of a stepping stone to what's to come. Coming off the bye, we knew we had an advantage and we came out striking. In Los Angeles, Prescott used his legs to deliver his best game of the season. 1 game later, he used both his legs and his arm to do it. His lone blemish was a red zone interception created by a tipped pass at the line of scrimmage that then flew off of the hand of tight end Sean McKeon. In all, Prescott finished with 25 completions on 31 attempts for 304 passing yards, 4 passing touchdowns, and 19 rushing yards, rushing for 2 first downs, and a passer rating of 133.7. Let's make it 3 best games of the season next week, said Prescott. I'm in rhythm. It feels good. A lot goes into it, and a lot of it's the other guys. It's not just me. Part of playing this position is when other guys are playing their best, it makes you look good, and then you're being told you're playing your best. We'll take it. But it's early in the year, and we've got to keep rolling. As I said, we've got to keep taking this momentum and get better, and make sure we're putting the best version of ourselves out there every week. We're 5-2, and looking forward to taking the next step next week on the road. That next step will have to involve mowing through an Eagles team that sits at 6-1 on the season and stands as the next major test of the Cowboys, not long after they failed the first, namely the debacle in Santa Clara in Week 5. The second story is Cowboys' Jerry Jones makes disappointing NFL trade deadline predictions. The Dallas Cowboys have been buzzing around the rumor mill as many believed they'd be a team to make a move to help with their Super Bowl chances. But the front office hasn't done anything yet. And from the sounds of it, the Cowboys likely won't be making a trade before the NFL deadline on October 31st, per John Machota of The Athletic. Owner Jerry Jones essentially dumped cold water all over the rumors. Cowboys owner Jerry Jones on the trade deadline, it doesn't look like we'll be doing anything. Dallas has a well-rounded roster, and there aren't many holes in the depth chart. With that in mind, there aren't many players they could trade for that would give them a much-needed upgrade. Many believed the Cowboys were in play for Tennessee Titans running back Derrick Henry, but that went out the window when Tennessee claimed they're likely keeping their star running back. Another option for Dallas could be to trade for a cornerback after Trevon Diggs fell to an ACL tear earlier in the season. It could be an uneventful trade deadline for the NFL. The biggest trade we've seen so far has been the Philadelphia Eagles acquiring Kevin Byard from the Titans. Maybe more trades will come to fruition in the coming days, but it's probably safe to rule out the Cowboys as one of those teams. If that's the case, Dallas will rely on their current roster. Luckily for them, they have a solid team and should be a playoff contender late in the season. The Dallas Cowboys fan base has its wish. CeeDee Lamb is officially more involved in the offense. The former Oklahoma wide receiver was virtually unguardable in the Cowboys' 40-23 win over the Rams on Sunday. It marks his second straight 100-yard week for Dallas, and he didn't even need the second half to do it. Lamb went nuclear in the first half, helping the Cowboys torch the Rams to a 33-9 halftime lead. In 2 quarters, he racked up 9 catches for 122 yards and 2 touchdowns, hauling in all but 1 of his 10 targets. He also took his lone carry for a 12-yard first down. "Coming off the bye, we knew we had an advantage," Lamb said after the win. "We came out striking, and that was the goal." In all, Lamb finished Sunday's contest with 12 catches for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns, reeling in over half of Dak Prescott's 304 passing yards. On the season, Dallas is now 5-2, and Lamb is the team's undisputed top offensive weapon. The 12 receptions and 158 yards were both career highs for Lamb, who has been on a 2-week tear for the Cowboys. Ever since Dallas's stinker against San Francisco, the offense has clearly prioritized getting the ball to Lamb in any way possible. It has done wonders overall, and he's cementing himself as one of the best wide receivers in the NFL. On the season, Lamb now has 633 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns through 7 games. He's on pace for his best NFL season yet. The third story is Daron Bland exposes the truth about the Dallas Cowboys. Daron Bland has quickly become the spice of life in North Texas, and his Scoville reading is through the roof. The 24-year-old is playing well beyond his years as a resident ball hawk for the Dallas Cowboys, a designation made that much more impressive by the fact he's a former 5th-round pick, also performing as if his number was called in the first round of the 2022 NFL Draft. When Bland dropped back and intercepted a pass from Matthew Stafford that was intended for former Super Bowl MVP Cooper Kupp, returning it for a touchdown, it marked his 3rd pick 6 of the year and the most by any Cowboys defender ever in season. He explained what he saw on that fateful play. "I saw Cooper Kupp in the stack, and he had an option router," Bland said of the pick 6 against Stafford. "He broke out, and once he turned it, I saw that ball and I said, 'Thank you.'" He is now only 1 pick 6 shy of tying the NFL record for most in a single season, owned by former Philadelphia Eagles defensive back Eric Allen. How apropos is this? Who set the record in 1993, with a chance to move next to Allen when the Cowboys take on the Eagles in Week 9 in hostile territory. "It's something I wasn't expecting, but I feel blessed," said Bland. "I feel blessed." Anyone who has ever crossed paths with Bland will attest to his humility, though. And so there's no celebrating this individual accomplishment, despite the list of Hall of Fame and/or Ring of Honor names he's walked past in order to grab it. And he's done it after being moved from nickel corner, where he had a breakout season as a rookie last year, to the boundary in the wake of Trevon Diggs suffering a torn ACL. Bland hasn't lost a step. Instead, he's actually gained several, now having 9 interceptions in his first 13 NFL starts to go along with his 3 pick 6s. He's always looking to improve, so not hauling in 2 potential interceptions against the Los Angeles Chargers in Week 6 haunted him through the bye week like something from the Conjuring universe. On Sunday, he made Valek pay. I was just telling the guys that I dropped those 2 interceptions against the Chargers, and I gotta get those 2 back. I'm glad I came back with a pick 6. That said, he has to now reevaluate a few things heading into Week 9, at least as it relates to setting a new personal goal with half of the regular season still on the calendar, and, as such, a lot more throws to his side of the field. My goal was to have at least 1 this season, Bland admitted with a smile. I have to rethink it now, halfway through the season. I wouldn't have thought it would have come this quickly. I'm just doing my job. It means a lot. You know Diggs was always one to get the ball, so to be able to step in feels good. As the team ran into the locker room following yet another blowout victory, a 43-20 throttling of the Rams that saw them score in all 3 phases of the game, the only NFL team to accomplish this feat in 2023,